From firing the supposed mastermind because of some serious allegations, to the Prime Rick arc probably not happening with him gone. Let's look at whether or not Justin Roiland will return to voice Rick and Morty again, because the Orange County District Attorney's Office has dismissed all the charges against him. Now, the man had been charged with domestic battery, with corporal injury, and false imprisonment in connection with an incident that occurred in 2020. So naturally, I'm sure everyone's wondering if Roiland will be returning to Rick and Morty. After all, he not only co-created the show, but also voiced both Rick and Morty. But Adult Swim already cut ties with Roiland, where they confirmed that it had ended its association with him. Oh, and they also mentioned that the show would continue without him. And this happened back in January, so they didn't even give him a chance to prove his innocence. Now with the charges dropped, some fans are wondering if Adult Swim might go back on their decision and, bring him back into the fold. Unfortunately, both Adult Swim nor Hulu haven't given any official word on the matter yet. That said,
fragile creatures, the human race, or just any living thing. Everything, every living thing is a delicate. It's just like one punch away from finding out what happened.
He has publicly said that he's determined to move forward and focus on his creative projects and restoring his good name now that the legal case has ended. What's more, Roiland also criticized those who were quick to judge without knowing the facts. I mean, at the end of the day, the decision to bring him back into the fold ultimately resides with Adult Swim and Hulu. Still, regardless of whether he returns or not, this might delay Season 7's biggest story yet. So what's going to happen to our favorite animated show? Well, it's always had a mix of standalone episodes and an overarching storyline, and the plan for Season 7 was to heavily focus on a single canon storyline.
Actually, I can probably help you. See, I'm technically human, but I've come to be more, on your level.
We're fine, thank you.
Maybe I'm being too indirect. I happen to dabble in multiversal travel, and
Now that Roiland's been shown the door, however, who knows what's going to happen? Will the story be delayed? Will it be changed? Or will it even happen at all? One thing I do know is that Rick Prime, the show's main villain, was set up to be a big part of the upcoming season, and fans had been eagerly awaiting the payoff of this storyline for a long time. But with Roiland out, it looks like they may have to wait even longer. Who knows when or if we'll ever see Rick Prime on our screens. And if that wasn't enough, the voices of our beloved duo will also be changing. Seriously, can you imagine Rick and Morty with different voices? It just won't be the same. The show will have to explain this change, and it'll probably happen in the season premiere. But instead of getting right into the Rick Prime storyline, we'll have to just sit through an explanation of why the voices are different. Though to be fair, we don't even know if the Rick Prime storyline was going to happen in Season 7 in the first place. The show has been known to tease us with serialized storytelling, only to focus on one-off episodes instead. But with Roiland's firing, it seems even less likely that we'll get the storyline we've all been waiting for. Who knows what will happen next? Maybe the show will hold off on the Rick Prime storyline until Season 8. Maybe they'll ignore it altogether. We just don't know. One thing's for sure though, the pressure is on for Adult Swim to keep the show going with Roiland gone. It's a tough job, but someone's gotta do it. Sure, Justin Roiland has been cleared after getting into some serious trouble with the law, but that doesn't mean that everything is back to normal. Not to mention, a lot of people came forward with allegations against him, so if anything, it'll be extremely awkward if he does return. I mean, there were accusations of sexual misconduct with underage girls too. Yikes! Now, I don't know about you, but this all sounds like some serious drama that won't go away. With that said, despite all the horrible stuff that's happened, fans will definitely feel like it's just a shame that Roiland's gone. After all, he was sort of the essence of the two main characters, right? Still, the fact is that Justin Roiland messed up big time by getting himself involved in something like this. He may have been cleared of domestic violence charges, but the allegations of sexual misconduct are not something to be taken lightly. And to make matters worse, some of the accusers were even involved in the making of the show's concept album. That's just awkward. But here's the thing, Rick and Morty was never normal to begin with. It's a show about a drunk, abusive grandfather and his dim-witted grandson going on wacky sci-fi adventures.
Wow, are those all the places Rick Prime could be?
I wish, Morty. It's all the places he is.
Oh, jeez.
Welcome to my darkness. I spent my life hunting this guy, Morty.
So, in a way, the drama surrounding him is just par for the course. It's like the show itself has jumped off the screen and into real life. All that being said, it's still a shame that the show's reputation has been tarnished by all of this. Rick and Morty has a huge following, and for good reason. The writing is sharp, the animation is top-notch, and the humor is both clever and bold. But now when people think of the show, they might also think of his scandals. And that's a bummer. At the same time, though, it's also a reminder that sometimes the people behind the art we love aren't so great themselves. Sure, some might argue that the show emerges from the worst parts of its creators. But here's the thing, some fans with similar impulses indulge in those quote-unquote worst parts. But hold on a minute, the way the show is made doesn't exactly bear out that reading. According to reports, Harmon, the show's co-creator, used the same hands-on strategy as he did for Community when writing for Rick and Morty. This means that he heavily revised other authors' drafts to make the series as uniquely his own as possible.
Could be as underwhelming as "Please Don't Kill Me."
Yep.
We're not promising you anything. I'm not even gonna look at the right camera all the time.
There's lots of ways your character could be killed by Rick. Vaporizer ray.
So Rick and Morty isn't just Roiland's brainchild. In fact, Roiland hardly participated in the daily production of the show since the third season, outside of his vocal acting. This means Harmon is the real mastermind behind Rick and Morty. And that's good news for the series' longevity. So maybe Roiland's departure isn't much of a loss to Adult Swim. Apart from losing the iconic voices of Rick and Morty, the show will probably have the same essence. But here's where things get tricky. A spokesperson for Roiland disputed that Harmon's the mastermind. They said that he contributed to the writing of several Season 5 episodes, although he wasn't involved in the scripts for Season 6. With all that being said, let's take a moment to appreciate the weird little cartoon comedy that is Rick and Morty. Sure, it's all about alien monsters and fetishes, but it's probably the best cartoon comedy about alien monsters and fetishes ever made. Roiland's behavior has associated his callous, sexually depraved characters with genuine, real-world cruelty. And that's not something we can just sweep under the rug. Nobody knows if there's going to be a script problem with Roiland gone, or if Harmon can even solve it. But let's just hope he tries. Either way, it's clear that Rick and Morty will continue. Its sixth season is set to premiere in 2023, and I just can't wait to see what happens next.
Sorry I'm late. Never really ends around here.
Look at this, Morty. They really did make a you the president.
And I hate him every day for it. But wow, Rick C-137. Now that's a guy to move your schedule.
Will it be as good as the previous seasons? Will it be a complete disaster? Who knows? But what I do know is that we'll be watching, waiting, and hoping for the best. Well, that's it for me about whether or not Justin Roiland will return to Rick and Morty.